Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video I want to talk about basically somewhat of verbal abuse and like by a narcissistic person or somehow whatever, however abusive the person is, and connected in a way to these expressions, these old expressions that you've probably heard over the years. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Okay, I'm going to tell you to hold on a second, like, oh my goodness. Okay, like, I think many people know what verbal abuse is. Some people get it confused, especially when some are saying that, there's a difference between verbal abuse and emotional abuse and psychological abuse, and, there are many kinds of abuses. Abuse is not just physical. The other ones can do as much damage. There's socioeconomic abuse. So many of them. But when the verbal abuse, basically they're trying to, and I'll use these expressions, like I said, cut you down. Okay? And they're trying to make you think of yourself that you're not all that. And if you're going around acting like you're all that, and then, like they used to say, a bag of chips. But, yeah, it's a different story. But if they're trying to convince you that your way of seeing yourself is not real, it's a bit of gaslighting, and or how anybody sees you. They want to cut you down. They want you to think, to lower your self-esteem, to make you think that you are not, anything of what you think you are, and everything that you do. It's just people, they'll even try to say things like, they're just trying to con you, or they're just trying to be nice to you, whatever it is, when they really, and the abusive person, really just wants to make you feel like everybody else is the liar, and that you're really nothing, this kind of thing. And or they, just use very abusive words, which I would not say. Think of the letter words that, you hear people say, like the B word, the C word. I think there's one for pretty much every one letter. Seriously, don't you think there's pretty much one for every letter? I'm going to have to write them down one day just to see. And, they'll continue that. They'll continue, so many games that they can play, like telling you, the whole gaslighting, like I just mentioned, but just telling you that overall, everything that you think of yourself, or it could even be you and your, other people that in your life, it's wrong. Okay, I'm sorry, my phone just went off. Okay, I do my videos on my phone because of the pandemic. I'm stay at home, so I'm outside, getting a little bit of sun and just being outside. I'm doing my videos this way. All right. Now, I had made some notes about this. I don't know what day it was. But what was on my mind is really, and I added to it today, like I said, these expressions people use, and that some people will not use really harsh words, like many people do. It's verbal abuse. They won't use the harsh words. They'll use, like, there's a thing about the South in the United States, that Southerners will say, when they really think you're kind of, there's many things that they think when they say this, or the situations that they would say this, they might think that you're just like a bit of an idiot, and instead of calling you an idiot, or that you're dumb, or whatever, they'll say, well, bless your heart. Okay, and that could be in many situations. They're being sarcastic, they're being rude, and in ways, in some situations, that can be verbal abuse. Consider it. Some would say it's light verbal abuse, but is there really any light verbal abuse? Now, some also have the whole attitude of, well, this was a twist to this one. Okay, some will say, like, if somebody is your enemy, even, they say, well, kill them with kindness. Okay, but at the same time, it can be, it's not always, none of this is always, none of this is 100% across the board, one size doesn't fit all, that kind of thing. But they'll tell people, and I'm sure many people have heard this in their lives, to kill them with kindness. Okay, like I just said, to be really kind to them when you're really not wanting to be. Now, that I don't think is a good way to teach people to be, to fake what they're saying, to fake how they feel, to keep it bottled up. I mean, I'm not saying that they should be verbally abusive either, extremes. There are middle grounds in these kinds of things. Nobody has to be too nice or has to be too mean. Just, sometimes whenever, somebody's being rude, is bad toward you, sometimes these people can be dangerous. Anybody can be dangerous. So everybody has to take their own consequences, their own actions or inactions. But, there's a middle ground. Sometimes it needs to be pointed out, it needs to be stated in some way that's calm, cool, and collected. I'm using these expressions, okay? Okay, and there's another expression. The first one that I really wrote down was, I know that I've only written down 2 of them, I think. But it was this about, you attract more bees with honey. Okay, and I've always said, when people have said that to me, I said, why do I want to attract bees? Seriously, why do I want to attract bees? Some people crack up laughing when I say that. Some people might think that I'm, bless your heart kind of thing. But really, what's the other one? Flies with vinegar, or I don't know, whatever it is. But see, that also to me, if a person is being fake, that's not a good thing. But at the same time, sometimes it's good, like if there's been a bad situation going on between you and somebody else, to, what is that expression? Be the one to offer the, what kind of branch is it? Olive branch or something like that. Extend the, yeah, I don't know all of these. But extend the olive branch. I don't know. But, to try to smooth things over, I'm using them, aren't I? Am I? And I had a situation like this. There was a grocery store, a little convenience store that came up. It was a new one. I'm going to tell this story. So it was a new one, and they had new employees. I guess they were, trying to find which employees were, of course, which ones are going to work out. And they had a manager, and then suddenly they had this assistant manager. Well, this assistant manager, she was a young woman, and everybody working there was young, and that really annoyed me because, that's ageism. And where are the people that have been working and doing that kind of job, who have been, are the ones who can help others, to learn the job. They've had experience, and just ageism all around. Everybody be young, like in their 20s. Okay, not everybody in this world is in their 20s. Yeah, but anyway, well, there's this young woman. She's like in her early 20s, and the manager was probably around the same age. I mean, the assistant manager. The manager, I think he was actually more like 30. Okay. Anyway, so they, I got to know the manager a bit because we went to this, convenience store, both of us, quite often. I don't go anywhere now. I don't go into any of these stores with this pandemic. Today is May 27, 2020. Yeah, and so the assistant manager was there. And something had happened, like they couldn't get the whatever I had to ring up right, so they called the assistant manager over, and she was a young woman, and she had an air of total indifference. Okay, not at all assistant manager or management type, as I have known in my life, generally speaking, usually, most often, that it's not an indifference when a customer is having a problem. Well, anyway, anytime I saw this one, she was so always like that, just total indifference. I might not be having a problem. I'm just saying her attitude. And then one day, Adam and I went in there into the store, and they don't know that we're together, at that point. And I'm in the back of the store getting something. He's up at the register, and he's trying to buy cigarettes, and he's older than I am, so it's not an age thing. Well, apparently this assistant manager, she was ringing him up, and she was very rude to him, like as though he was going to steal those cigarettes. And he said she just kept being rude, and I was walking up, and I looked at it. He was turned around, looked at me, and he was giving me this look like, what in the world's going on here? And I came walking up, and he told me what, kind of whispered to me what had happened, and she was just being so rude and indifferent. And I said, let me handle this, So I handled it. And before then, that time before then, I had called her. I skipped this whole talk to the assistant manager or the branch manager or the district manager. I go straight to the corporation, forget that crap. When she was really rude to me that one time before. I mean, she was. I don't even remember the whole scene. But anyway, this one, when she was attacking Adam too, and she was so rude. And when I spoke to her in a very stern voice, not abusive, but very stern, and I told her at the end of it, I said, do not be rude to customers. And she was like kind of a little bit shocked, but she was so indifferent all around. Like, it was very odd. Okay. Now, Adam is one who usually doesn't pay attention to these kinds of things. So it was shocking to him, that she was speaking to him in such a way, behaving in such a way around him. And I had seen her be rude to people who were from, she and I are both white, okay? Somebody who's not white. I saw her be rude to them before. Now, that's just all kinds of wrong. And so anyway, after that experience, and he told me more about what happened and how she was behaving, I did call their management, their corporate office again. And I told him, this is not the first time I have complained about her. Well, anyway, after that, she was no longer there. I don't know what happened to her, what situation. Although I did call one time to find out. I've done this and never called to find out what happened or anything like that. But it might have been, not just that one place. In my lifetime, not just recently kind of thing. But one of them I did, and they said that they just sent them to a different store or something like that for retraining or something. Well, anyway, I could tell that there's this other younger woman. She was, she wasn't a manager. She's still there as far as I know. She was one of the ones that lasted the longest. If she might still be there, like I said. And she was real rude to me one day. Oh my goodness. It's like, is this their norm? And I've said this before, I live in Narcissismville. That's what I call it, where, yeah, it's kind of, it is the norm. When I first heard of this place, I didn't give it the reputation. When I first heard of this place, like 30 or so years ago, what I heard about it was that the people here have a high sense of entitlement and, are rather narcissistic. Well, okay, that could be a culture. Think of all the years it had been before then to get that reputation. Now, I don't agree with reputations and stereotypes. I want to see for myself, and I judge for myself. I'm an independent thinker, and I make my own decisions, And my decision is that, yes, it's pretty much you can cut it with a knife. It's not the whole town or the whole city, or it's more like areas, just pockets that you can really experience it. And I'm not the only person that sees it, of course. But anyway, so I'm kind of used to a little bit of an indifference and, so forth, the entitlement and all that. Well, this young woman was just rude. And I'm like, really? Is this what it's going to be in this store? I was glad that there was a new one opening up. And, maybe they would find better people, than the other store. Because the other store had problems, too. Their other location. And then, like I say, I'm not the only person who's experienced it. So don't think it's just me. It's, yeah. Anyway, so this young woman was rude to me more than once. And I kind of figured it out. That she was rude to me because she was a friend of that woman. That woman probably figured out who it was that reported her and got her fired. Or sent to some other place, whatever it was. Because, she wouldn't remember me saying, don't be rude to customers. Her whole attitude was to be rude to people, that assistant manager. Well, this young woman is probably, I could see that they were friendly with one another. And she probably thought, it was my fault for getting that woman fired, the assistant manager. And no, it was the assistant manager's behavior that got her fired. Okay, put the blame where it belongs. Don't blame the victim. So, anyway, I'm reading my notes here. So anyway, yeah, so she was she was rude to me, and she'd also do this thing, like I'd come in the store and I'd get up to the cash register, and she'd look over at the person with her and whisper something, and look at me, doing that kind of crap. I'm not a child. She was rather childlike, but yeah, she was in her early 20s probably. So she kept doing that. And so one day I went in there and I decided I was going to ask her, just how are you doing? And she was kind of shocked, and somehow, some way, it came out that she's, she said something, and I asked her, I said, well, which college do you go to? And she said, the one down the road. I said, oh, I taught there. And it brought about a conversation, and we were real polite to one another, and she was smiling so big at the end of it. Yeah, because, maybe she wanted some attention. Maybe she wanted somebody to actually notice that she's somebody other than just the cashier. Could be. Or maybe she's just likes talking about herself. But to me, it was actually a good conversation she and I had. Now, some would say that I was trying to kill her with kindness, or that I was trying to attract bees with honey, whatever was the situation. But no, I wasn't even consciously, having some kind of plotted, a plot or plan or something to do that. It just happened naturally. And she was very nice to me. Now, I don't know if I went in the store now, if she's still working, would she still be nice to me, or would she still remember that her friend's behaviors got her fired, and I was the one that reported it. See, that's the right way to put it. Don't know how I said it before, but now I'm saying it that way. Don't blame the victim, Don't. It's not their fault that somebody got fired, and I see that so much to hear this. And like, there's a group I'm on, and some of the people I know in person or knew when I was younger, some point during my life. Some of them I don't. It could be their children, or it could be whatever, other people. But their whole mentality is basically, some might remember this reference of just lay down and take it. Yeah, that's such a bad attitude, but they had that whole thing, like if you go, some of the people had written on there about, going to, during this time of the pandemic, they are trying to support drive-through restaurants, whatever, takeout, whatever, and they're trying to be supportive. And what happens is crummy food or rude people working there, getting the wrong order. Over time now, people writing this, and too many other people in that group, their attitudes were, shame on you for posting this. And some of them would post pictures for proof. Shame on you for that. You shouldn't be complaining. You should have gone back. Well, no. These places often have that, some kind of delivery service. Because they screwed up, they need to get their pay for, for it to be delivered. But they're so used to just taking it. Just taking whatever anybody throws at you. It's a whole mentality, and there's much more to it. But anyway, so they would verbally abuse the one who's already been, call her names, call her whatever, her, him. They would verbally abuse the one who's already, I wouldn't call it an abuse, not getting your order right or whatever, who's, the one, who's the victim, okay? Yeah, they would go ahead and do that. And they would just do that. Anyway, I think that's enough for this video. If you have any experience or opinions and you care to share, leave them below. Nothing verbally abusive. I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.